What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about a couple things. Currently I'm out here walking out in the park, enjoying nature, drinking my coffee here. So I'm almost done, but scent of the day today is Dior's Oud Ispahan. I decided to, I'm checking out some ducks here. They're distracting me. Had a good workout this morning, took a shower, needed to run some errands. So I decided to make a quick stop here at the lake, or one of our lakes here in Austin, and put some Oud Ispahan on. I thought it'd be nice to kind of let the fragrance settle before I go run my errands. I don't want to choke anybody out. But here are the ducks. They are pretty friendly, I think. I don't know. Get closer. Did not bring any food for them, but it's a little cold right now, so they're probably trying to stay warm. But today's not about Dior's Oud Ispahan. It's about some other fragrances that are in the title. So today we're going to be talking about Dior Sauvage and Creed Ventus. And I have a couple stories that I'd like to share about those two. Oh, sorry, not spoiler. So there's those two, but there's also Versace Eros that I was going to talk about. But let's keep walking over here. Let's see if we can find some more ducks. We got a couple more sleeping over here. But first story I'd like to share is from 2012. I want to say is my best estimate on there. I was a senior in high school, so I was maybe 18 or 19, and I had just got home from my first semester or I guess I was a senior in high school, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, I was home with my mom, and we decided to go visit the fragrance shop downtown there. And there's a couple fragrance shops there, you know, mom and pop type, that I loved going to. It's a duty-free one, and that's where I like to spend my time. Before that, I would wear Davidoff's Cool Water and this Claiborne Curve. Oh, look what we got here. Lots of ducks. So those are my two signature scents, I would say. So around 2012, I went to go acquire a new fragrance for college, and I walked into this is kind of weird. I walked into the department store, the fragrance store, and I smelled a couple things. Liked a lot of things. I don't really remember what I smelled during that time. I'm pretty sure 1 Million maybe had just came out, but I do remember the two purchases that I did, which was Versace Eros and La Nuit de l'Homme. And I bought those completely unprovoked, by myself. Did not get any help from anybody. I was young at the time. I had no idea what fragrances really were. I kind of just knew that I liked the smells, and those were the two that I ended up picking up out of maybe hundreds of fragrances in there. Could it be a coincidence that I picked the two most popular fragrances, or did I get lucky and did my nose do the job for me, and kind of those fragrances kind of sold themselves? I don't really remember. I guess I really just liked those two, the way they smelled. Eros was very captivating and kind of different. I think heavy in the Roxanne or something that really caught my nose, and then La Nuit de l'Homme, that one kind of speaks for itself too. And this was in 2012, so fairly new into the market. I don't know, maybe 3 years in or something like that, but great fragrance and great times. And Eros was my kind of like my daily during the day, and then La Nuit de l'Homme was something I wore, you know, special occasions, nights out, stuff like that, or intimate occasions. I would say maybe 2-3 years passed, and there's another little whirlpool of ducks over there. Some type of ritual going on here. So I would say a good 2-3 years passed, and I kind of got tired of Eros. And then eventually it started becoming a fragrance that was associated with clubbing, and you know, because of Jeremy fragrance and all these other things. So I kind of stopped wearing it, and I guess I did kind of get tired of it over time, as you know, my nose started to develop a little bit, and I would dabble here and there. Again, I wasn't fully into the fragrance game at that time, but it's just kind of what I liked. Long story short, I moved in with a friend, and he was my roommate, and I started delving deeper into the fragrance rabbit hole, you know, selling things, buying things, discovered the gray market and all that good stuff. And I ended up giving him my Versace Eros bottle, which was, I would say, fairly full. It was probably like 80% full. So throughout those couple years, I had only worn it, you know, 20% of the bottle, which is, I think it was 100 ml. So used roughly 20 ml of that. And he liked it, so I said, you know what, here, you can have it and whatnot. So I gave that to him, and I think he liked it. And then a month later, I was like, hey, you still have that fragrance I got you? Because I realized I could make some money off of it if I sold it online. And he's like, no, I gave it to my dad. And I was like, oh, no worries, that's cool. So that was that story. But turns out my grandpa, that was my grandpa's favorite fragrance, and that he would wear that. So when I told my mom that I had given away my Versace Eros, and this was the I think this was the EDT, so the original one. When I told my mom that I gave Versace Eros away, she got upset. She's like, that's your grandpa's favorite. She's like, you should have given it to him, blah blah blah. But I think he already had 2 bottles at that point. The reason I have this title card is because my grandpa passed away about maybe 2.5 weeks ago now. May he rest in peace. But that was his favorite fragrance, and it's kind of funny because you know, in the fragcom, that's associated with a party fragrance, a club fragrance. But here goes my grandpa putting this on daily, you know, like 5 sprays, just going for a random walk, or even just meeting with family or friends. So he was smelling good. So he liked Versace Eros, and for that reason, I'm gonna always remember that fragrance and associate it with him, because I do have a long history with that fragrance as well. But may he smell good in heaven and all that. But there's my Versace Eros story, and I'm just kind of staring at this duck right now. It's very interesting over here. There's my Versace Eros story, and the next one I want to talk about is one that happened recently, which is kind of funny, and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. So let me kind of explain what happened. I was helping out this lady at work, and she smelled really good, and I kept getting wafts of it from her. And she was, say, maybe like late 20s or something like that. And finally I asked her, I was like, hey, what perfume are you wearing? And I was trying to figure it out in my head, and I landed on Creed Aventus, and I was like, oh, are you wearing Creed Aventus? And then she's like, no. She's like, what's that? And I was like, oh. And then she ended up saying that she was wearing Dior Sauvage, and And that's not the first time that's happened to me, where I really like a scent on someone and it turns out it's Sauvage. I would say maybe like a good 7 times now. That shows how good it is and how strong the sillage is and all that. You know, it's a really beautiful scent in the air. I just can't get myself to wear it, but it is a really nice, pleasant smell. You know, if I had that in my room, I wouldn't mind smelling that in the room either. But and then that brings me to another story from a couple months ago as well. I was helping out this other lady, and she was, I want to say 60s, maybe, yeah, I would say mid-60s. Picture Katie Puckrick, just a little older. So a really nice, stylish lady, well put together, you know, good looking and all that. And she smelled really good as well. And I could not picture, or I couldn't, basically, long story short, she smelled really great, and I couldn't put my nose on it as to what it was. I had smelled it previously, I'm sure, but eventually I asked her, I was like, hey, you smell really good, what is it? And then she kind of laughed. She's like, oh, she's like, it's called she's like, it's a men's fragrance. She's like, it's called Creed Aventus. And I was like, oh yes, I'm familiar with that. But it smelled really good on her. Maybe the batch variation community is right. You know, maybe there is a couple different smells here and there, because every time I smell Creed Aventus, I compliment somebody on it, because again, you know, it smells good. Can't argue with that. I don't see myself wearing it. I've had it before. I gave my sample to my dad. My dad ended up loving it, and he just finished his 100 ml bottle within 6 months. So he really loves that. And I told my mom to get him a Black Walnut Legend, which is a kind of like a clone or inspiration. It's inspired by Creed Aventus as well. So really fresh, woody, citrus fragrance. And come to think of it, does Sauvage have pineapple in it? I think it does. Maybe that's why I kind of got the pineapples mixed up. If it doesn't have a pineapple, maybe it has some other fruity accord in there. But those are my stories. A little story time here with the ducks. There's quite a bit of them. There's more down over here. Maybe we'll walk a little bit before we close out. But really beautiful out here right now. Another reason I decided to wear Udispahan today was because I'm wearing a purple sweater, and for some reason I associate Udispahan with the color purple. So that's what we did. We decided to wear purple today. But with that being said, I'm gonna go run some errands. I do have a couple new pickups that I got. I got my second bottle of Le Lion recently. It does smell a little different than my original bottle from Dubai. So I'm kind of trying to see if there's different batch codes in Le Lion. There's different batch codes, but I mean like variations. I think the only other person that I know that has 2 different bottles is Bobby. So Bobby Ono, what do you think about your Le Lions? Do they smell the same to you? Do you get different notes? For mine, my incense is a little bit different on my new bottle, which is batch code shows 2020, and my original one shows 2019. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but let me know it's a little different as well. Dry down goes the same though, so very juicy there. I'll make a video on that soon. I just need to form my thoughts on it, but I wore it 3 days in a row, trying to compare what I've been smelling I just can't figure it out. But I got an amazing deal on that. I can't complain. On another note, I just ordered Les Abstraits, my first Les Abstraits. I ordered the Sand from Ashes. Curious to see how that smells. I'm really excited. It's being really hyped up right now, and it is the brand's third release. Hopefully there will be another collection, you know, in a year or two. Kind of let Eugene form his thoughts, and maybe the new fragrance will have his, you know, it's a body of work, and we'll see where he is now. I think he's in a better place mentally and all that stuff. So maybe the new fragrances will be a little more, I don't know, bright, uplifting. You know, I don't know. I don't want to keep rambling, but excited for you, Eugene and Les Abstraits. Shout out to Bobby Ono for the inspiration for going out for walks and getting comfortable filming in public. So I'm kind of talking to myself right now, but I guess it just looks like I'm FaceTiming a family member. Anyway, long live Dior Sauvage, and long live Versace Eros, and long live Creative Ventus. Catch you guys next time.